Hey, good buddy Gabriel. I figured I'd make this video to try to make it easier for you to understand what I've been putting together, trying to make sense out of this conference presentation. I'm using Spark. I'm not using PowerPoint, although if you are really against this, we can certainly change to that. The other thing, too, about Spark is you can make a PDF of all of this. So you have a PDF available, say if something happens, you can't get internet access or something like that. And I have, in a conference I did over the summer, I actually used Spark and presented with it, and it worked fine. But anyway, so I'm going to try to talk through this. I'm sending you the conference proposal, the Spark that I've put together. That's the picture here, what you're seeing here. And then a rough conference script, kind of, because this is usually how I kind of do it. I put together the Spark with the images and, some of the headings and all that. And then I kind of write down what it is I'm wanting to say. Okay, so let me start. Okay, here's our title. Let's build our own wall, the everyday reality of living next to the border. And I'm Susan Garza, and my colleague is Gabriel Ferreira. And I'm from Texas A&M, and he's from Cal State University in Los Angeles. So let's see. Our part of the panel today focuses on the agency of building one's own fence along the Mexico-U.S. border and the unhospitality, I don't know if that should be un or in, represented through the nationalistic us versus them border rhetoric that is representative of a large percentage of the U.S. population. We're going to start with this question first. What is it like living next to the border wall? What we're going to talk about today is shown in this picture. This is in El Paso, Texas. This is a privately owned border fence that was built by a landowner who lives right next to the Mexico border. And this picture is from some research we did when we were in south of San Diego. And you can see here the difference in the experiences. Right here, not much going on. Mm-hmm. On the Mexico side, it's pretty, not any houses or anything. And this actually goes up a mountain. And then here you can see colonias on the Mexico side, and then this is the U.S. side. So we wanted to give you this visual just to kind of give you an idea of the vast differences that you can find when you look at the space of the border wall, the U.S.-Mexico border wall. And in our research, we're looking at, what are the narratives being told about the border space and the false narratives that you found. As we have conducted research and gathered stories, it is very important to us that we remain open, blah, blah, blah. You can see I'm reading this, blah, 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 blah. We present this information in order to better understand how, as Chavez describes, these nationalistic discourses build borders and the material effects of such discourses. These discourses that build borders are created as a result of nationalistic beliefs created through border rhetorics, resulting in inhospitable relations among people. Okay. And this everyday reality of living next to the Mexico-U.S. border provides a backdrop for examining these false narratives of La Frontera. As Duchesne points out, regardless of their form or function, borders are thus always invested in power. Moreover, it is important to remember that since borders are human symbolic constructs, the power that they hold or wield does not issue from borders per se, but rather from specific persons who call upon the figure of the border in specific ways in order to do specific things. So in our discussion today, we want to give you some background about, a little bit more background about us and our research. We're going to focus on analyzing the landowners' fence, no, not the fence. Interview. We're going to focus on us versus them and other, what are those called? Other discourses? Other something. I don't know. Anyway, this is going to be like, what are we going to talk about? What are our major points? So I'm still not sure what all that is, but we'll work on it. Okay, our research. Over the past few years, we have been working along the U.S.-Mexico border, conducting unstructured interviews of stakeholders who live, work, and pass through La Frontera, and recording the visual narratives of the border space through photos. Our research is transnational in scope, as we provide equal attention to both sides of the borders. When we were working on the border south of San Diego, we published an article in a journal called Open Words, and it was about the Friendship Park. And I don't know if we should say more about that. I don't know if we'll have time. Anyway, and then when we did that one year, and then the next year we moved to Arizona, and one of the areas we've been visited in Arizona was the Tohono O'odham Nation Indian Reservation, and we have written a book chapter related to our research there, and we're still working on where we want to get that published. You can see here, this is part of the fence there in that area. This fence that's been there a long time and was traditionally used for the natives to pass back and forth. Okay, and then the next year we centered our research in El Paso, but we also kind of worked our way backwards and did some research in New Mexico as well. And then this year we actually finished up doing research on the Texas part of the U.S.-Mexico border. But while we were in El Paso, we had this chance encounter, something that we did not know about, had not planned for, when we learned that there was a local news article. We found a local news article that told about this landowner who had built his own fence. And we were going to visit this area anyway, because this is where the international boundary marker number 1 is located. And so part of what we do is we visually document through photos what the actual space of the border wall looks like, and then we do some analysis of that. So we found out about this, and so we went and we were very interested in finding out more about what was going on. You can see here, this is the actual fence, the fence we showed in one of the earlier pictures. This is the U.S. side. This is the Mexico side. The river runs along here, and then just to give you a geographical perspective, in the United States, you've got New Mexico and Texas come together at this point right here, and then you've got Chihuahua that comes together at that same point. So that is the location, and here a little bit more of a close-up. You can see the border between the United States and Mexico. The Rio Grande River is here. At this point, it goes north. This is Texas over here and the city of El Paso. And another reason we wanted to show you this, Casa de Adobe. This is actually a memorial park in Mexico that where the marker is, the marker 1 is. And there are some memorial sort of museum kinds of information there. Now, the privately funded wall was built by, I have to fix this. We Build the Wall is the name of the organization that they have GoFundMe sites, and people donate money to build walls for individual landowners who live along the border. And you can see here, this is what their website looks like. And this fence that was built in El Paso was actually the first project that they had. And you can see here some before and after. This is the before the fence was built, and then you can see the fence here. And then here you see the migrants that are waiting to cross, and then the new fence that was built. I wanted to read just a little bit of this. There's some interesting text in here. Let's see. It says here, over 100 illegal aliens crossed onto his land each day in the first half of 2019. They don't give the source of this. So I'm assuming it's just based on a report by the landowner. Reports from the Border Patrol don't give specific details about specific sections, but other than the landowners stating this, we haven't been able to find any other documentation. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers denied him a wall. They said it was impossible. They also stated the mountain was a natural barrier. Another reason that's documented in the scholarship is that there's quite a bit of Border Patrol presence already in this area, with the Border Patrol patrolling in their trucks, as well as the technology that they have to determine when people are trying to cross. Let's see. Blah, blah. Maisie, stop. Okay, no one can get within 100 feet of this barrier without triggering advanced warning systems. And we're pretty sure... Maisie! Sorry. Stop it. We are pretty sure that while we were in this area, that's how they knew, how the landowner knew that we were there, because his house sits kind of up on the hill, and so he and some of his friends drove up in their truck. You can see here, this is the landowner. His first name is Jeff, so I'll call him Jeff. And this is looking through his fence back at the... we're on the Mexico side, and we're looking through to the U.S. side. You won't see these things in the real preview, but you can see here one of the lighting and sensors, the technology that's part of what goes along with these fencing systems. These are some of the people that were with him. The truck that they came in. One of the other people that was with him. This lady actually was filming we tape recorded his interview, and she was videotaping while the landowner was talking to us. Now, this is the side we were on. This is the Mexico side, and like I said, it's kind of a memorial space, and you can see here's a white column that's got a plaque with some information about the space. Mm-hmm. And this is boundary marker 1. And then you can see the fence going up, bordering the landowner's land. So this is the Mexico side, this is the U.S. side. This is a longer picture of the fence towards the bottom of the hill. Mm-hmm. You can see the poles with the security, the signage that you'll find along the border boundary of the United States of America, a statue located in the Memorial Park. These were some security forces on the Mexico side that were coming through doing some of their regular securing of the area. And then this is at the top of the mountain where this is all located, the Monte Cristo mountain. So those pictures hopefully will give you some more of a context. Okay. Park. So using the lens of border rhetorics allows us to see the border as a place of rhetorical imagination and as a social construct. Borders are natural, but are a result of attempts to gain power and dominate and manage others. Human agents such as landowners act based on beliefs such as those driven by nationalism and engage in rhetorical practices that create physical borders, as well as borders that exist beyond the physical and can lead to negative attitudes and actions. So focusing on the themes of the conference related to agency and human security, we present an analysis of our interview with the landowner and how his discourses are shaped by border rhetorics. We also present visual analysis of the physical space and the border rhetorics that are reinforced through visual rhetorical practices. And so, I don't know, I may move this stuff because citizenship and idea and symbolic otherness, I think I may move these stuff. But anyway, let's start with us versus them beliefs. As the landowner talked to us, he referred to things like his physical danger, he as well as his family. He mentioned to us, rocks being thrown at him, one hitting his leg, people that had bothered his dog, threatened his dog. So he very much felt the need for protection. He talked, many of the things he said related to the sense of fairness that as an American citizen, he should be able to feel safe where he lived, and that people who he really stressed the idea of people who come through the regular process of coming to the U.S. as opposed to people who are crossing for various other reasons. He talked to us about his wife, or his former wife, and that she was from Mexico, and so he had been to Mexico and had that family connection, and so he felt like he had a good understanding of the area where he lived, as well as his visits and his relationship to where she was from and her family. Stop it. Okay, then the use of military strategies, mindset, equipment, and technology, which causes the line between law enforcement and military forces to be blurred, and also the need for defense fortifications that protect the country against threats to national security, such as criminal activity and potential foreign invasions. You can see on the We Build the Wall site, I pulled some of these descriptions off of that. The fence is made out of brute steel. I mentioned the high-tech systems that go along with it. This wall is actually 20 feet tall, and then the cement goes 7 feet into the ground. It's made out of weathered steel that lasts 50 years longer than what the government-built wall sections are made of. And as I mentioned earlier, the sensors and lights are triggered by anyone crossing in the area. Justification of policies that equate immigrants with criminals, terrorism, and harm based on rhetorics of out-of-control borders. Let me take that off. This was the president talking about what was going on in the last few years, the national crisis, emergency. And you can see here the typical wall design as compared to what we build the wall, what they talk about up here. This wall is taller. The cement goes into the ground, and like it says here, the material is supposedly better, and that's what Trump was supporting. And one reporter in an article stated that President Trump, in a call to the president of, this is Trump talking about building the wall. I intend to call the head of United States Steel and a couple of other steel companies to have them come up with a plate or a design. We'll use that as our barrier. So he's talking about, he's actually calling the wall the barrier. With the idea that they want to restrict the asylum process. He describes the spaces in crisis, being invaded. Here again, back to what Jeff reported, that 100 people a day would cross through that area. And then the exaggerated labels that are used, such as open borders, that some groups want the borders just to be completely open. Candice and Basak describe these kinds of rhetorics as creating high intensity in the performance of border conflicts at the U.S.-Mexico borderlands. And then the nationalistic framing of the citizenship and U.S. American identity. The landowner Jeff, I need to say Jeff, stated, anyone who is against this is against America. So believing in the fence is what a good American would do. Genova refers to this situation along the border as the border spectacle, a scene of ostensible exclusion in which the purported naturalness and putative necessity of exclusion may be demonstrated and verified, validated, and legitimated redundantly. The scene where border informants performatively activates the reification of migrant illegality in an emphatic and grandiose nature of exclusion is nevertheless always accompanied by its shadowy, publicly unacknowledged or disavowed obscene supplement. The large-scale recruitment of illegalized migrants as legally vulnerable, precarious, and thus tractable labor. So you can see that the border rhetorics and what we witnessed here in this area, I've got some of this written down. Our discussion adds to the conference focus on border rhetorics that create, regulate, and enforce divisions and inclusions. This analysis of the experience of a U.S. citizen whose discourse is shaped through nationalistic beliefs provides primary research into the effects of border rhetorics on the identities and lives of human beings and communities within the small space of the border fence built by the landowner. We can look at both local and transnational community movements in order to develop a more complete understanding of the border wall controversy. And then our sources. This right here is actually a YouTube video of when they were actually building this fence. So it's pretty interesting, but I don't think we'll have long enough to actually, show any of it. The other thing I was wondering is I think I might be able to put some audio clips in here, although I wasn't sure. I mean, my initial thought was we probably shouldn't use those since we told him we were, although we're not using his names. Well, I don't know. Anyway, we'll need to think through all that and make sure I'm on the right track with that. And I apologize. I don't know why Maisie decided to suddenly go berserk. She'd been fine. I would have put her up if I'd known. Anyway, sorry. I appreciate your patience. But this is rough, and I just wanted to send you this and let you kind of see where I'm going. And, let me know what you think. And I will keep working on it. Thank you very much.